up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Breaking news in the Sebastian Waindrake Rogers case. Well, kinda, sort of. Sebastian Waindrake Rogers is a 15-year-old boy that disappeared on February 26, 2024. He has since had a 16th birthday on December 7th. That's correct. It has been almost a year since Sebastian Waindrake Rogers disappeared from inside his locked Hendersonville, Tennessee home. Many people that have been following this case from the beginning know how cluttered this case has become with controversy, even almost a circus. The information and controversy surrounding the mom and stepfather and their story related to Sebastian Waindrake Rogers has come under heavy scrutiny by the public, both online and offline. The mom and stepfather have hired a team of people known for running interference in cases online, including an unscrupulous PI that says he knows a lot more than it appears that he knows. He states he knows who was in the vehicle at 3 a.m., spotted on a home surveillance camera that captured two lights coming from allegedly the backside of the Proudfoot home. Lights that appeared to come from the backside of the Proudfoot home and into a common area. Over the last month, we have heard a lot of information further damaging the credibility of the mom and stepfather. We learned that there were 5 CPS reports related to Sebastian Rogers Rogers. We heard that they had been trying to find a new place for him to live as far back as October 2022. We have watched the chaos of the people that they have chosen to work with erupt on social media. And those people tell us that it's possible that Chris's truck was seen in the area on a Wi-Fi of some sort around the time allegedly Sebastian could have went missing. The stepfather maintains that his truck was there after 1 p.m. on the 26th and no such time prior to it. The stepfather then goes on a podcast and answers questions, which raise even more questions in the community. Furthermore, the unscrupulous PI hired by the mom and stepfather started manufacturing reports related to the view of the camera that spotted those lights on the outside of their home. And we're all wondering why he would do that. And those reports were debunked by the mob crew with receipts. Shortly after that, the stepfather is seen in the woods with other content creators recording a search where they took a spirit box with them. Other discussions, the stepfather believes that it's possible that Sebastian was hit by a car, even though there's no evidence ever pointing in that direction. I don't know any real true crime content creator that ever wants to think any parent could harm their child. It's not like we're seeking it out. But you know what hate channels say? Listen to this.
So, I have a question starting this subject. Why do you think the Lore Lounge is like so gun-ho? Like, he's even on Twitter kind of going at SF. Like, why do you think he's so gun-ho about this whole situation?
Because you're not making any money unless you're after Chris and Katie, right?
Yeah, but it seems a little odd. Like, I just sat there and I was like thinking to myself, but this just doesn't make sense a lot of times.
Well, none of it makes sense. A lot of it don't make sense why these people are going after Chris and Katie. Because there's obviously not enough evidence. Yeah, but all these people are going against, I mean, they sound stupid because, I mean, they say all this stuff against Chris and Katie, I mean, about the different interviews and stuff like that. And I could say the same shit about Seth. I mean, their arguments are just stupid, in my opinion. But they feel like if they have, like I've said before, they're not going to make the story isn't there unless they have the boogeyman. So Chris and Katie have to be guilty or they don't have a story. If Sebastian was just lured out or abducted or whatever, there's no story there, right?
I can't believe that this panel of people would actually think that it is more popular for a mom and dad to have done it than it would be for a whodunit and everybody looking to figure out who it could possibly be. That is the most ludicrous thing I have ever heard in my life. People are interested in this case because of the twists and turns. Okay, that's what draws the audience in. And we're happy to have that audience to elicit information from. But to think that it has to be the mom and dad in order to get the audience attention, that couldn't be further from the truth. Look at the Idaho 4, a prime example. Sebastian deserves better than this. There is not a person on these platforms that wanted to be a mom and a stepfather that could have harmed anybody or could have disappeared anybody or could have done any type of custodial interference or whatever the case may be. Nobody ever wants to think a child is abused inside their beautiful home and the facade that some families create to hide the abuse. There's not one person on this platform that I think would ever want that for a click and a view. And if you do, you are what I classify as a monster. We're here to try to help this family get information and find their son. All these other idiots, I don't know what they're here for. What we do know as fact, however, is that Seth has been searching for his son ever since his son disappeared. Seth has publicly taken a polygraph. He has publicly produced his work records. This man has done everything he could possibly do, including working with the FBI, working with me to advocate for his son, calling on the national media, getting Nick the Hat and Dog the Bounty Hunter, and we're here with what from the mom and stepfather? Nothing for almost 10 months. Shoddy searches at best, working with an unscrupulous PI, felons, and including one searcher utilizing substances, illicit substances, while searching for their son. I have to say that this is the most highly disturbing part of this case, is the mom and stepfather's behaviors and actions since this boy has been reported missing. Again, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers has been missing since February 26, 2024. He has brown to dirty blonde hair, brown eyes. He stands about 5 foot, 5 inches tall. He weighs between 110 to 120 pounds. And again, last seen in Hendersonville, Tennessee. If you know where Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is, please reach out to 1-800-TBI-FIND, your nearest local law enforcement office or the nearest FBI office. Can you help find this boy? Do you have information as to where he is or what happened to him? Please call today. There is a $250,000 reward for any information leading to his whereabouts or the successful prosecution of those responsible for his disappearance. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment here on this video. God bless each and every one of you. Well, good morning, my beautiful people of YouTube. As you saw, my video yesterday was prepared for this very live. I did not go into a whole lot of detail, just capsulating what's been going on here recently with this case and kind of focusing in today on the 5 CPS reports and the, I don't know. What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. But before that, I usually dive into new cases. I'm not going to do that this morning. I'm still trying to get my land legs back from the sea of political BS that I've had to deal with for the last few days. So with that, I've been doing some research to catch me up on the last couple days of what was going on more in depth, actually watching some people's videos and things of that nature, trying to get a handle on things, but nothing that we haven't already talked about and haven't already gone over 1,000 times. And so as I'm working through this, something really just kind of just jumped out at me on the X. And it was a clip that War Damn Eagle had clipped. So that's why I'm summoning War Damn Eagle to the lore. Not the lore lounge, the lore lodge for the people that can't pronunciate lodge versus lounge and call it, what was it? instead of gun ho, gun hole. Wishful thinking there. I need to stop. It's too early. It's too early. Welcome to Thursday, January 9th, as we roll through the beginning part of the year. And I can't believe we're already a third way through the first month. But as you see, Truth and Time was already right there. Me and you are kind of like this right now, okay? Because you already knew literally what the next thing up on my channel was going to be, which is why I went back and found it again to post it up, because it kind of dovetails right into the sea of YouTube BS that I've got to deal with now versus the political part of the BS right now. So I just want to let you guys know that this is hilarious. Okay, hilarious. First off, I don't watch this Yahoo. I think he's an unscrupulous PI. He is a BSer like no other BSer. He has a master's, a PhD in BS, okay? A PhD in this stuff. So this guy is starting to scream on his ex, everybody in Hollywood, get out. It's coming for you. It's coming for you. And some guys like, look, you crackpot, it's not here. And this unscrupulous PI, now firefighter, now wannabe, he keeps talking about how he's part of the team, but yet there's never a team around him, right? He's supposed to be helping all these people, but he seems to always be alone. And that is exactly what they teach you not to do. Never leave your group, especially in a fire-torn area. So I don't understand if he's even really working, okay? I think he's more recording, and there's a lot of reasons why. One, he's behind the line of people being able to cross. When you're a volunteer or you're out there for media, they let you get up close and personal because you take personal responsibility for your job, okay? And it's funny to hear him being behind the evacuation line, not in front of the evacuation line where those volunteers are typically at. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Another sea of what?
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
Take precautions, y'all. It's getting serious. It's getting hot in here with all these.
L-I-A-R. You a liar.
Thank you guys. I will get over to, oh, look at that. Oh my gosh, you guys have been burning it up. I'm not even paying attention. Thank you, Melanie. God bless you. Happy Thursday, everyone. Betty, you're amazing. Thank you. You are too. You are too. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Queen of Hive says, good morning, beautiful Betty. We are battling a nasty bug here in my home, but I enjoy being sick in bed. We can follow it up with watching you. I've got to come over there and take your temperature if you enjoy being sick in bed. I don't think anybody enjoys being sick in bed. And that kind of dovetails into a Delilah story. But thank you. Thank you. I thought that was hilarious. So she's happy and enjoying her sickness in bed because of Bullhorn Betty. I'm glad it can make your sickness better. My other true crime creators, keep grinding, girl. We absolutely will. Absolutely. Aw, beautiful Veronica B, True Crime, and Eve Loves God, gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Don't forget to tell them all. Thank you. Now we're going over to firefighter Steve, right? The one that apparently is helping, but not helping. I don't quite understand it, y'all, because this doesn't make sense to me. And not only that, look how he's dressed. I don't see fire. Okay, I went 3 minutes into this 3 minute, and thank you, it's me, Jen. I'm not lying. I went like 3 minutes into this 3 minute and 53 second video, and I still didn't see fire. Am I blind? I think I'm blind. Oh, thank you, Brenda. God bless you. God bless you. Am I blind? You guys don't believe me. I know you guys don't believe me. Okay, this is like, I'm like dying here because at first I'm like, oh, well, thank God he's doing something else, right? If he's out there working, he can't be on Twitter arguing with people for $700 allegedly an hour. You know what I'm saying? And my daughter just evacuated. I know it's sad, and I'm not taking away from that. I've seen some footage, and I'm telling you, it scares the crap out of me. God bless all those people in California, and God bless the first responders. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut about how how I feel about those California fires and SF being around them. We'll leave that at that. God help me. God help me for my impure thoughts. I am so sorry, but I do have them. I do have them. But I want you guys to watch this for yourself. I still have yet to see fire. I still have yet to see smoke. I don't know where the hell. I can't figure it out.
Bathroom break. But this is the new evacuation area zone. Or not new, it's been for the last couple hours. This is San Vicente. And this is Ocean and Santa Monica Ocean Boulevard, and then San Vicente.
Santa Monica.
Which is north.
So we got a Santa Monica Ocean Boulevard. Now we're going to just fast forward a little bit, okay? Here's where he starts pointing out everything, okay? He starts showing you everything. Still no fire. Still no fire.
Defense going on right at where the Tenn and PCH meet, and they're trying to stop all these houses on the beach and everything from burning like everything did in Malibu. But the thing is, they moved the evacuation line.
They moved the evacuation line. I want that to be a point because he's behind all these lines. He's behind everything. He's not in the mix of anything, yet he's trying to act like he is.
So
Look how ridiculous he looks.
Blocks. So we cleared from 11 blocks to the beach. Make sure everybody's out of these. And
he's talking about his team, but there's no team around him. And when you're in a fire-worn or torn area, you need to stick with your team. Everybody knows you got to stick with your freaking team.
That's because they think it's going south. This is walls of apartment complexes.
No fire.
Houses and in Santa Monica. And if these happen to go, it's going to be a domino effect. And it could go Venice, Marina Del Rey.
So he's out there evacuating people, evacuating people to save their lives. So this Yahoo's out there evacuating people to save their lives because this is a life-threatening situation, right? Because the fire's coming, y'all, right? But he stops in the middle of saving people's lives in this fire-torn area, stops everything he's doing, removes himself from the team, walks completely all the way away from the team because you don't see anybody around, and decides to go live in the middle of saving people's lives. I think it's a cricket. I'm just saying, who does that? You know what? When we were out there in hurricane weather saving people, you know what we did? We strapped our camera on our vest and kept working and talked to our audience while we worked. There's no fire. He looks ridiculous. And he's trying to make himself feel important. Where's his team? Where's the contract? Where's the proof he's been hired?
The lie detector test determined you are a liar. Bullshit level, DEFCON 5.
All right, enough with that. Enough with that. Enough with this piece of you know what. So I thought I would show you guys this because this guy was arguing with SF. He can't make this stuff up. This guy was literally arguing with SF saying, or this unscrupulous PI, I'm not going to plug him anymore, that there's no fire in Hollywood because this POS is telling him, get out of Hollywood, get out of Hollywood. He's like, dude, it's not here. Yeah, it's coming up. You guys need to exit now before you're burned alive, basically, right? I'm exaggerating it a little bit. But So this guy goes out and is like, dude, live from Hollywood, let me know what SAR is needed. Because he's saying he's going over there. Like, even people from the area are calling this unscrupulous PI out and producing receipts as they're calling this POS out. So enough of that. I just want to show you, this guy is so full of, you know what, it's not even funny. It really just isn't. I get so blessed annoyed with all it's all lies and BS. And everybody calls him out and he sits there and doubles down on the lie. So it's pretty, I don't know. It's just pretty odd for me. That's all I'm going to say. Now, with the Lore Lodge, there's been some commentary back and forth, but I thought I would read this one. And it says, wow, it's pretty dishonest, hoping your followers won't see context, I'm assuming. And this is from, I'll admit, I didn't expect his followers to be that stupid, but they sure appear to be. And it says, look like he already is. I tried to warn Aiden, don't feed it or it will grow. The unscrupulous PI loves all of this attention. I tried to tell you, this man is disgusting and loves to block people and then lie about them where they can't respond. He is a cancer, which is pretty much what many of us have already believed about him anyways, is that he is a cancer and he lies about everything. And it's very annoying for a lot of us.
Think about it. Let's say
so I wanted you guys to hear this as well. Hopefully you guys can still hear. You guys are still hearing everything? Okay. It doesn't look like it killed my mic yet.
Because if you think about it, let's say that, they need to have Chris have an alibi. Well, Chris calls her while in Memphis.
It's just a theory.
The phone on the charger, drives out to Hendersonville. It's about a 3-hour drive, a little over, about 3 hours, 15 minutes that time of night. Drives out to Hendersonville. Whatever transpires. Maybe she hangs the phone up when he gets there. Because remember, 3-hour phone call. Interesting, right? Let's think about when they said this phone call started. Chris gave a very specific...
We need to also think about this because, I know that this theory has been bounced around since the beginning, right? We know that. But if that were the case, then what about the 3 a.m. lights? Unless they all had left and came back there. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to still figure all this out, but this does plausibly make sense. And I know he's not the first one that has brought this up because many of you guys, when this case started breaking, brought up about the phone. And so much so that when the stepfather was communicating with questions on Facebook, I remember somebody was really honing in. I think I got clips of all those in the file somewhere. I've got to look for those, where somebody was pressing him on the issue, asking him, did his phone move during that 3 hours? Because it is a little odd that she fell asleep at 10 o'clock and he woke her up at midnight to tell her to go to bed at midnight. What if that wasn't over the phone? Because we learned from Seth that she slept like a rock. What if he woke her up personally and told her to go to bed? It's, it's interpretation and it's theories.
Specific time, which is weird because he wasn't very specific about anything else. There were like a couple of really specific things he says, and then there's a lot of vagueness. Chris said he called around 9:43 or 9:46. He said it takes 3 hours and 27 minutes, to the minute to get from point A to point B, which, by the way,
it's actually 3 hours and 37 minutes doorstep to doorstep was his, I think, verbatim statement.
No, there's no way that drive is going to be the same exact amount of time every single time down to the minute, because this is an interstate, which means that depending on the time of day, the length of that drive is going to change.
So we all know that to be true, but that's not really the topic of conversation, but we're going to get there after this next one. This next one's on Nick the Hat, and this was a statement from the Lore Lodge that I actually wanted you guys to see, and it's right here. And it says, and Nick the Hat is the one that shared this, then I didn't see it, because I did see that these people were going back and forth with each other, but I wasn't really paying attention or listening to it. I just don't want to listen to it. Okay. I really don't. But we were talking about it in part here briefly as we go through it, so you guys are updated. This back and forth with this Yahoo, this unscrupulous PI, I don't have time for it. All it's doing is making him feel important. He's just not. He screwed up this case royally, and he lies about everything. So on here, the Lore Lodge writes these several people and says, pay attention, and is responding to a Jan 6 statement where he said, hey, Steve, instead of subtweeting me and not even bothering to tag me, why don't you just come on our show and talk? If we're wrong, clear it up. So many of you guys know, because we've talked about it over the last several days, how this unscrupulous PI has really been going after people that have been really diving into this case, and people that truly dive into this case and work it come up with pretty much the similar conclusion from person to person. And we're all walks of life. We don't know each other. I don't know Aiden. I've never seen him before, never watched him before the Sebastian Rogers case, have no idea. I still have never reached out to the man. Okay. I don't know who he is. All I know is that I'm looking at his research. I'm looking at mine. It's similar. Okay. So naturally, I'm thinking this man is doing a wealth of research and getting himself up to snuff. And that's important to me, because anybody that's going to be discussing this case should have just the basic facts, right? We all have it. We all took the time to find them out. And so it upsets me when other people don't, and then have an opinion when they don't even have the facts. It's a pet peeve of mine. But the problem here is that SF has been on tooting his own horn, going on. If he can get on national TV, he will. But since they don't want him very much, except to make him look like a fool, he goes on a lot of these hate channels to try to strum up his support. Well, everybody's now realizing the hate channels are just what I've said they've been for the last 3, almost 4 years. But I digress. He's stating that he will go on the Lore Lodge if he demonetized, even though he's never made that statement for any channel he's ever gone on, telling him to demonetize and do a fundraiser for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That is only for Seth to have the appearance that he's a good guy, which he's not, because he will let these drug addicts profit off of him being on their channel. But somebody that does good work and does the right thing by the community and everything else, he wants him to go without. I don't get it, but I digress. Aiden has acknowledged that he's willing to meet the terms of SF to get him on his channel. And then SF goes silent and then starts saying, I'm 3 hours behind you. And now he's all of a sudden on this fire, right? And now using the excuse, I can't go on, I can't talk, I can't explain myself. And then tries this whole smoke and mirrors, literally smoke and mirrors on his smoke and mirrors channel. So it's no surprise. It's no surprise that we have this, but really the inspiration for our live today, even though we have heard it many times, because we've all watched this since it was released, and this is the ET commentary. Right? This is when the noose was tightening, and it seemed like it scared the stepfather a little bit. So he had to go and get his team under control, but he couldn't do it without doing it publicly. And so all those public commentary was for the world to see. And War Damn Eagle clipped something, and with stuff that we've heard, it's nothing that surprises us, but something clicked in my brain. And of course, I got these handy dandy deck called the Deception deck, right? And even though we're going to go through all these cards tomorrow, that's our show for tomorrow, I decided to take this little statement and just go through the cards. I haven't read the cards. We're reading these for the first time. I can tell you all I did was read the front of the card. If it matched what I was looking for, then I turned it sideways. I kept them all in order so we can go in the exact order that they came to me in. If you don't believe me, here it is. See? I got them. I just got them turned over. I don't know if you guys can see that. Woo! Got to drop the cards. Don't want to get them out of order. If you guys can see it here, I got the several that I got turned over here, but I kept them all in the same order because this is the way the pack came to me, and I kind of wanted it as much in the same order as humanly possible for tomorrow's show when we go over and read all of the cards. So I expect it to take a little while because there's a lot of stuff packed in it. It's small print, and I'm getting blind because I'm old. So we'll go through those, but I did pull, I think, like 3 or 4 cards that I think go with this statement. So we're going to hear this statement first. I'm going to show my receipts, and then we're going to end with the same statement we started with. And if we can reach our goal this morning, I will turn on the phones and we will have a discussion and a debate about the information and what your thoughts and stuff are. So without further ado, War Dame Eagle, clip and clip, clip, clip.
Are there 5 CPS reports?
I don't know.
Are there 5 that you know about?
Once again, I don't know.
Now, I want you guys to listen to that. You guys just heard that. I don't know. How can you not know? How can anyone not know how many times they've had to communicate with the Department of Children and Family Services? Okay? How? Because those reports are based upon visits. How many visits did this family get from a social worker that they can't remember how many Department of Children and Family Services reports they have against them? Because it's from my understanding, when you get a report against you, they question you about that report. Are there more? Are there more that haven't been turned over to Seth that he is blissfully unaware of? How would somebody, he didn't deny it. Now, I want to make this a point. He did not deny having CPS reports. He didn't even deny the amount. He played the I don't know card. So that tells us he knows that CPS is involved. He just doesn't remember how many, because he didn't flat out say there is no way there's 5 CPS reports. If somebody came to me or was up on here saying that I had 5 CPS reports on a child, and they asked me about 5 CPS reports, I'm going to say there ain't no effing way anybody has 1 flipping report on me, let alone 5. That would be my response. My response would not be, I don't know. I know that there are parents that are in my chat that have had to deal with the Department of Children and Family Services for a variety of reasons, whether it was their past conduct, another family's past conduct, something happening like a child, falling into the pool in an investigation, something, that was truly just an accident. The Department of Children and Family Services may come in and look into that. So there are plenty of parents that have experience with the Department of Children and Family Services without being abusive parents. And I can tell you there's not one of them that doesn't know how many times the Department of Children and Family Services knocked on their blessed door. If you agree with that statement from me, put a 1 in the chat. If you do not, put a 2 in the chat. Now, I'm not saying that every parent in here has had the Department of Children and Family Services, but I can tell you, I know of a family where their child, kind of flipped out, was under pressure of high school, being bullied or some other things, and kind of flipped out. And they had to call, in Baker Act, my friend's child, right? Do you know the Department of Children and Family Services investigated that as well? So there are parents that have to deal with the Department of Children and Family Services that have absolutely zero to do with abuse. These happen to deal with abuse. So let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning. Where did we learn of this alleged abuse, this possibility of him having any part of the Department of Children and Family Services in his life at all? would you know the reason why we even learned of this information is because of the stepfather himself? Oh, do I see Seth in the chat? It's nice to see you, Seth. Nice to see you. And I'll get over to you guys, your guys' super chats in just a second. Just bear with me here for a minute. So how did we learn that there was ever CPS? None of us would know, right? We all know that the Department of Children and Family Services has confidentiality. Even the best of us that have written, dissertations on why we have rights to documentation, we are shut down when it comes to the Department of Children and Family Services for privacy and confidentiality concerns. So we can't get those paperwork. So the only thing we can do is have a theory and ask the question. And guess what? We had the theory, the question was asked, and here's the response. Here's the response.
Start. Okay. Have you ever had CPS called on you before?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And you don't have
So nobody knew. It was only speculative. And so one of the questions they asked was, has the Department of Children and Family Services ever been called on you? Up until this point, nobody knew definitively. They had theories. They had speculative thoughts that maybe CPS has been involved in this family because a child's missing. And our experience is that the Department of Children and Family Services is involved in these types of cases long before the child ever goes missing. And once again, we are proven right on that theory. So nobody knew. We had our assumptions, but nobody knew definitively. And so the question was asked, and he answered the question. And that raised even further questions, like, why would you have the Department of Children and Family Services called? So let's go back. Let's go back 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. Hold on. Let's go back 5 or 10 seconds, and I'll listen to that.
Well, let me start. Okay. Have you ever had CPS called on you before?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And you don't have to go into it elaborate or anything like that. I just, that was the question that I had. And that happens, sometimes, especially when you have a child who is, has special needs and stuff. That's
so, and not only that, but we have plenty of parents in the chat that have had direct contact with the Department of Children and Family Services, and it had nothing to do with allegations of abuse. So Smiley's statement here is absolutely correct. It happens.
I've had it. Well, I'll be honest with you. I've had CPS called on me in 2 states.
He didn't say how many times. He was very clever in this statement right here. He didn't say 2 times, even though we as human beings interpreted it as only 2 reports. That's not what he said. He said only 2 states. We have no idea how many times did the Department of Children and Family Services have been called in those 2 states. He didn't say 2 reports. He said 2 states. It was our ignorance that thought it was only 2 times.
A child who is, has special needs and stuff. That's hard.
I've had it. Well, I'll be honest with you. I've had CPS called on me in 2 states, New Mexico and Tennessee.
And and that did that include with Sebastian?
Tennessee was Sebastian, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And in fact, Sebastian.
So he knew of the report here, or a report, right? He didn't elaborate. He said 2 states, not 2 reports, 2 states. And we know that in another interview, he commingled 2 different reports together and tried to explain them. I believe that might have been on the Nancy Grace, but I don't know. We're going to get to that next. Let's keep listening.
In here, I'll just, like I said, I got nothing to hide. So Sebastian went to school one day because we were at the house.
Here's the story. Here's the story that the stepfather is alleging. Now, remember, he just said on ET, he didn't know how many times that he doesn't know if the CPS has been called on him 5 times. Well, let's listen to this really, really, really carefully.
Got in trouble. He didn't have a belt.
Oh, and by the way, let me go back just a couple. I'm going to go back 15 seconds. By the way, I can't read chat when you see a video screen on because I'm here running the screen so I can stop it and everything. So it takes my comments off my screen. So if you guys are writing anything to me, wait until I'm back to the screen and talking to you guys. But right now I'm not even on the screen. I can't even see comments. So I apologize.
So, and that, did that include with Sebastian?
Tennessee was Sebastian, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And in fact, Sebastian here, I'll just, like I said, I got nothing to hide. So Sebastian went to school one day because we were at the house. He got in trouble. He didn't have a belt on. I was like, "Where's your belt?" And got it. Whack. Got him. So he goes to school and he tells the teacher. And they're mandatory reporters. So the teacher reports it.
So let's listen to this again because that doesn't even hardly make sense. Let's see.
Did that include?
In here, I'll just, like I said, I got nothing to hide. So Sebastian went to school one day because
So he went to school. Sebastian went to school one day. So it sounds like he made his way to the school. So he was actually out the school. Okay, let's listen from here.
at the house. He got in trouble. He didn't have a belt. So Sebastian, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And in fact, Sebastian here, I'll just, like I said, I got nothing to hide. So Sebastian went to school one day because we were at the house. He got in trouble. He didn't have a belt on. I was like, where's?
So he didn't have a belt on. Does he need a belt? Like usually kids that have properly fitting clothes only need a belt to hold their pants on. A belt, I don't think, is a required uniform item. It might be. I don't know.
There's a belt. And got it. Whack. Got him.
So he didn't have a belt on. This is his story. This is one of his stories. Now he has since denied this story ever came out of his mouth. But he's stating that because Sebastian didn't wear a belt, he spanked him with a belt, and he went to his school and told the teachers that he got spanked with a belt. But that's not what, but Chris says later that it was because he lied to him. It didn't sound like he lied to him. He asked him about the belt. He wasn't wearing the belt, and he got a whack for it.
Sebastian went to school one day because we were at the house. He got in trouble. He didn't have a belt on. I was like, where's your belt? And got it. Whack. Got him.
Just that quickly. I don't have my belt. And what does he do? He spanks him. Doesn't clarify, doesn't care. He just goes off and hits the boy because he doesn't have his belt. That's what his statement is. Listen to what he says.
Sebastian went to school one day because we were at the house. He got in trouble. He didn't have a belt on. I was like, where's your belt? And got it. Whack. Got him.
So he doesn't have his belt on. And because he doesn't have his belt on, he got a spanking. That's what his stepfather just said. Not that he lied to him, because it sounds like he was truthful. Let's listen to him and see if Sebastian was being truthful at this time.
Sebastian went to school one day because we were at the house. He got in trouble. He didn't have a belt on. I was like, where's your belt? And got it. Whack.
So he ain't got it. Whack. Doesn't sound like he lied to his stepfather. His stepfather asked him where his belt was. He said he didn't have it, and he got hit. That's what his stepfather said. Just here. I wanted to make sure everybody understood the story.
Got him. So he goes to school and he tells the teacher. They're mandatory reporters. So the teacher reports it. Mm-hmm. That afternoon, CPS shows up to the house. Wow.
Let's listen to this. This is very careful. Listen to this carefully.
So he goes to school and he tells the teacher. They're mandatory reporters. So the teacher reports it. Mm-hmm. That afternoon, CPS shows up to the house. Wow.
So you report child abuse. Someone shows up to your house. Coming back to how in the world would he not be able to know if he has 5 of these visits?
Are there 5 CPS reports?
I don't know.
Are there 5 that you know about?
Once again, I don't know.
Any normal person would have said there is no possibility of there being any type of reports like that. He said, I don't know. Let's keep listening. What else? What other information does he let loose?
We're actually sitting down to eat dinner. Now, mind you, 15-year-old child.
15 years old. Not 8, not 10, not 11, not 13. 15.
That afternoon, CPS shows up to the house while we're actually sitting down to eat dinner. Now, mind you, 15-year-old child, he's not real happy because he's in trouble, so he's being punished. So he shows, he makes a report. They come to the house, and the lady who comes to the house is the same lady we've had. She's had a case before.
Oh, so he knew about a prior case, but he doesn't know whether he has 5 CPS reports. Let's listen to this again. Sorry, guys. I know we've heard this, and I know we've already broke it down, but he just gave an interview on ET's channel a couple weeks back, or maybe a week ago, and he says he doesn't know. Well, he seems pretty knowledgeable here earlier, back on March 20th, when he sits down with Smiley's World. Exactly. He doesn't seem very confused at all about what transpired. Let's listen. Let's go back 15 seconds. Let's listen to it again.
Tour reporters. So the teacher reports it. Mm-hmm. That afternoon, CPS shows up to the house while we're actually sitting down to eat dinner. Now, mind you, 15-year-old child, he's not real happy because he's in trouble, so he's being punished. So he shows, he's
being punished for not having a belt. I have never heard of a punishment like this, but I've also questioned why a child that stays in his room pretty much all the time and stays to himself could be in as much trouble as this child has been in, that we have learned about. And I'm thinking, I have never heard a child being in trouble for failing to wear a belt or getting popped for failing to wear a belt, especially an autistic child at that. No normal child have I ever heard be punished for not wearing a belt. I mean, I could be wrong. My audience is going to have to let me know.
He's not real happy because he's in trouble, so he's being punished. So he shows, he makes a report. They come to the house, and the lady who comes to the house is the same lady we've had. She's had a case before.
Huh. Interesting. Case before. So now he's acknowledging 2, because he's only said he's been he's only had CPS in 2 states, New Mexico and Tennessee.
Now, the case that was before.
The cases, not case.
The lady who comes to the house is the same lady we've had. She's had a case before.
See, he kind of caught himself there. He was about to say in other cases, and he switched right there at the last minute and said the case before. Listen to this again. Oops, I went too far.
The lady who comes to the house is the same lady we've had. She's had a case before.
See, he was about to say it.
Now, the case that was before.
The cases that were before.
Now, the case that was before.
The cases. He's putting the plural S on it. Nobody else. Him. He told us about these cases all the way back on March 20th in Smiley's World. We just weren't listening. It wasn't one case before. It was cases. Cases. Now let's listen to what he says on the Nancy Grace show.
Because my son could be anywhere, and we're looking everywhere and anywhere.
Oh, I keep forgetting to put my little tags up. I made them this morning too. I am so sorry. I took the time to give credit. We're not there yet, but I forgot to put it up. Smiley's World. I stole this from Justin for All. If Justin for All is in the chat, I love you. I just stole something from you. Don't say I never did anything for you. Never took anything from you. Never pulled your pigtails. I'm just joking. Okay, credit to Nancy.
I've got a question for you.
Yes,
I want to find out about Mr. Proudfoot hitting Sebastian with a belt. What happened?
That was actually several years ago, and it
to
was
Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr.
Several years ago. Several years ago. I'm not sure if that's what we just heard on Smiley's World, because remember, they were just sitting out. He was an embarrassed 15-year-old boy.
Mr. Proudfoot. To Mr. Proudfoot.
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Proudfoot, what happened?
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you were asking Katie. Sebastian had gotten in trouble. He got caught lying. And I had asked him, I said, hey, you got to have a punishment for this.
He was caught lying now. Now, we just confirmed in the other one, he didn't lie. He was asked whether he had a belt. He didn't have it. He got a swat. He got punished, is what Chris says or calls it. But now it's lying. He didn't lie. He never stated that Sebastian lied before. As a matter of fact, he specifically stated what happened. Let's listen to see if he says the same thing to Nancy Grace.
Katie, Sebastian had gotten in trouble. He got caught lying. And I had asked him, I said, hey, you got to have a punishment for this.
That's not what he said before. He said no, he didn't have it and swat. He never had a conversation with him. He just punished him, according to his other statements. He had plenty of time to elaborate.
Sebastian had gotten in trouble. He got caught lying. And I had asked him, I said, hey, you got to have a punishment for this. He says, yes, sir. And I said, okay. So I gave him a swat with a belt on his buttocks on the outside of his clothes. One swat.
What about the other CPS reports? What about the other CPS or the other cases? I wonder what Mr. Proudfoot has to say about the other cases. Oh, I know what he has to say about the other cases. He doesn't know.
Are there 5 CPS reports?
He's got amnesia.
I don't know.
Are there 5 that you know about?
Once again, I don't know.
Okay. Are there 5?
Just saying. Let's see what else he's got to say on the Nancy Grace Show.
What did he lie about?
Honestly, I don't remember it.
Oh, don't remember. Seems like you don't remember a lot.
Warning, bullshit alert.
Time, but it was probably something dealing with school because that's majority where his issues lie.
Majority where his issues lie are in school, not in the home, but it's the school's fault, right? And when he's in the school, when they're in the school, they say it's Seth's fault. Just seems really odd that it's everybody else's fault, but the two people on the screen.
Did he have other issues at school?
Some behavioral stuff, but nothing too crazy.
But I thought that's what he was being punished for. What? Wow.
What kind of behavioral stuff?
He has a hard time. He's awkwardly socially blending in with students.
How is that a punishable offense?
So it's a little. He's trying to figure out how to do it.
So again, how did that school behavior affect him to get punished at home? When it's awkwardness, he's awkward, so he gets punished at home?
But respecting people's space, he gets a little too close.
So he's being punished for being too close to people now? Because she's asking him specifically, what did he get in trouble for? And he's listing everything allegedly he gets in trouble for at school and is being punished at home with a belt. And all the things he's listing are attributed to his chromosome deletion syndrome as well as his autism.
And and then kids don't really accept that too much. So
those are the problems that he gets in trouble at school that come home that he gets punished for. So he's having problems making friends, so he comes home and gets punished for that.
it kind of causes an issue. But he'll not stop and he continues on. So then it causes an issue. And instead of being honest about it, he'll lie like, no, I didn't.
So him being in somebody's personal space, he obviously doesn't have the ability to understand what personal space is. And if he doesn't have the ability to understand what personal space is, then he probably doesn't believe he's encroaching personal space. And he's going back home and telling his mom and stepdad that he's not doing that, and he's getting punished for that. Is that okay for the audience? Is that okay for the hate channels? That's disgusting. But that's okay. It's okay for an autistic boy to be treated that way. That's because two also had no idea he had autism. So the things they see as intentional behavior, I'm sorry to say, it's all part of his condition. Parents need early intervention services, but they did know for a very long time since he was born that he had the chromosome deletion syndrome, which the reason why it's so hard to diagnose autism when you have a chromosome deletion syndrome is because the two, I guess, disabilities or illnesses, I don't know what you want to call them. I don't want to speak out of turn or be offensive in any way, but whatever, they mimic each other. The behaviors mimic each other. That's why it's so incredibly hard to decipher between what's the chromosome deletion syndrome and what is his autism. And one of the reasons why it took so long for him to be diagnosed with his autism, I know this because I went and did research with a bunch of people related to the chromosome deletion syndrome. And we actually did a show here where a doctor was explaining why it's so hard to diagnose autism when you have the chromosome deletion syndrome, especially the type of syndrome, the deletion or the chromosome that he has deleted. I can't remember if it's the 6 or the 3 or whatever number it is, but it's that specific one is even harder to decipher whether somebody is on the spectrum, has ADHD or autism. So there is that. Let's go back just so we get our footing on what, sorry. There we go. I think this will, there we go.
But he'll not stop and he continues on. So then it causes an issue. And instead of being honest about it, he'll lie like, no, I didn't. Okay, Sebastian.
Look at his face. He's he's smirking.
We're lying about doing
Was that the first time?
What did she say? Hold on. What did Katie say?
We're lying about doing
Was that the first
line about? She said something. What did she say?
Question.
We're lying about doing
Was
what?
that the first time?
Or lying about doing it. What a piece of, you know what, for a mother.
Was that the first time you had ever hit him with a belt?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's forget the conversations they had on Smiley's about the cases and how the lady that showed up to the house has been there before, but he doesn't know that he has 5 CPS reports. He didn't even know, he didn't say no. He didn't denounce that he had any of them. So he's acknowledging that he knows about the reports, in my opinion, by saying he doesn't know how many. And that's almost, I don't know what's worse, not knowing how many you have, that you have so many you've lost track. I can't.
The one and only time, actually.
The one and only time, actually. Did I have a phrase for words? Let's keep going. The one and time.
When was this?
Years ago, ma'am.
Years ago, not when he was 15, not recently.
Any idea how many? 3, 10, 1?
Wow, he has to think about it here too. Look at him. For how many years? He has no idea.
It probably at least 3 years ago.
At least 3 years ago. So that would make that would make Sebastian 12. 12 years old. He wasn't even a teenager yet. An embarrassed teenager. He wasn't even a teenager yet.
I don't understand how that turned into a CPS or Child Protective Services complaint. How were they alerted that you hit him with a belt?
That did not turn into a CPS service
Oh, it didn't. But on Smiley's World, it did.
call.
There were other CPS reports, right? Were they regarding your other child?
There is one in regards to my daughter that I know of out in New Mexico with my.
So he knows the specific number for his daughter because it's only one, but he doesn't know the specific number for his stepson. Well, I know somebody that does know the specific number.
In 22.
So did you say 5, Tony?
Those are your audience over and over again. I think it's important for your audience to know that over the last 2 years, there's been 5 different DCS reports that were filed.
Sounds like somebody knows how many reports were filed. So going back to the elevated truth statement, let's listen to that one more time. Let's listen to that one more time. I told you we would circle back. Let me get my banners on because I worked hard on them. Took me 5 minutes to put these things up. Credit to War Damn Eagle.
Are there 5 CPS reports?
I don't know.
Are there 5 that you know about?
Once again, I don't know.
Okay. So that brings me to my first. Now, I have not read this. I will be honest with you. I just went through the cards and found the one that said vagueness. Because I don't know, wouldn't we put a 1 in the chat if an I don't know to you is vague? His pants are on fire. I know. I would have to say that statement is vague. Okay, vagueness card is the one we've got from the deception deck. And it says liars often resort to vagueness in their narratives, a tactic driven by the need to evade providing details that can be verified and the challenge of inventing a detailed story. If a story is missing specific names, times, location, or spatial prepositions. I don't know what spatial prepositions are. I guess we're going to have to spatial prepositions. I don't know. We'll have to look that up. Prepositions such as inside, under, above, around. It could be a sign that it's fabricated. In 2008, Casey Anthony's daughter was reported missing. When describing her search efforts, Anthony stated, I checked a couple of stores. Sorry, let me read. It's really small. It says, I checked a couple of stores, just regular places that I know. The absence of specific store names and the ambiguous nature of checking, did she go inside or merely look through the windows, cast doubt on the authenticity. I can't speak today. Authenticity, good gracious, of her account. So I would think that would apply here. Now, I came across, so I did pull 4. So also, I have identified as recognizing misinformation card. The recognizing misinformation card. I don't know what's on this yet, so let's read it and see if it applies. Is there any point to which you would wish to draw my attention? To the curious incident of the dog at the nighttime, or the dog in the nighttime. The dog did nothing in the nighttime. That was the curious incident, remarks Sherlock Holmes, author Conan Doyle. When analyzing a statement, it's essential to pay close attention to what is not said. Liars often omit crucial details either to avoid incrimination or due to oversight. To identify such omissions, consider these factors. 1, avoidance. Is the speaker sidestepping a topic that logically should have covered, indicating a possible deliberate omission? And 2, gaps. Are there noticeable gaps or missing elements in their narrative, suggesting that the story might be fabricated? Recognizing both kinds of omission is vital in evaluating the truthfulness of the statement. Oops, don't get out of order. That has been my number one focus, is keeping all these cards in order as they came out of the box. Okay, the next one is spotting common lies. Spotting common lies. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. When evaluating statements for deception, consider 3 components of the testimony oath. 1, commission. This involves bold-faced lies of commission, where an individual outright contradicts the oath pledge, tell the truth, through direct falsehood. 2, omission. Here's lies of omission occur. The subject tells part of the truth, but intentionally omits incriminating or crucial information, adhering to the whole truth. Distortion. A final method involves information treatment. The truth is presented, but is wrapped with additional language, such as exclusion qualifiers or a passive tone, deviation from nothing but the truth. Spotting subtle lies is the last card that I pulled out of the deck related to this. I thought this was important. The best liar is he who makes the smallest amount of lying go the longest way, and that's stated by Samuel Butler. When analyzing statements for deception, recognize even the smallest sign of crucial signs of crucial. I don't know what that means. The smallest sign of crucial. It says crucial. Skilled liars often distort the truth rather than lying outright. Remember, I told you some of the best liars, the foundation is always truthful. That's what I'm talking about. So skilled liars often distort the truth rather than outright lying, using tactics like omission and nuanced information treatment. No. To detect these subtle deceptions, be wary of assumption. Avoid drawing conclusions based on vague language. Inferences. Be careful not to infer meaning from what is unsaid. Errors. Don't disregard incorrect grammar as it could be deliberate play. Remember the we and I, the word games, Angela, you're absolutely right. And diction. Pay attention to unusual word characters, including overly specific or repetitive terms. Acknowledging these nuances is vital to unveiling the hidden truth in statements that appear honest on the surface. So those were the ones that I pulled out for this one. I am trying to incorporate the deck into some of our lives. Give me just a second. Let me see what we got going on here. Oops. Nope. Yeah, I think everybody's there with the unscrupulous PI. We're so sick of hearing his language, his words coming out of his mouth without any supported receipts. So if that unscrupulous PI wants to open his mouth anymore about the Sebastian Rogers case, he better pony up the receipts or sit the what down. All right, and that's not what everybody's. Oops, I just hit something. Sorry, guys. Hold on a second. I got too close to my when I pop those down. Give me just a second. It just killed my webcam. There we go. Are we back? Nope, we should be back. Why is it not doing it? Where's my webcam? It should be on webcam. I do not like the computer camera. It sucks. It sucks. All right, guys, give me just a second. Let me go over here and look at where we are this morning. We're over 50% to the way. And how many votes do we have? So my question here for the people in the chat that may not realize, I do have a poll going right now. And the poll is, would CP know if he has 5 CPS reports? I have to state that based on all of the information I put forward to you guys today, right, that he would have known. It seemed like he was ultra knowledgeable in Smiley's World's interview and got amnesia when he went on the Nancy Grace show. So I definitely want to thank you guys for participating. We still have a little more of the show. I'm going to go over all of the sponsors. If we can get our goal met in the next few minutes, we've only got 5. It looks like we only need 5 more. We will turn the phones on. We will play the ass video, the karma video, and turn the phones on so you guys can call in if you guys would like. Bong says CPS would not close those cases without speaking to the individual that is involved with the child abuse / report. I absolutely do believe that. That's why I find it so funny that he has no knowledge of it. I did hear that in ET's show, but it was like there was so much that came from that show. It was the one thing I didn't pull out. And then when I saw War Damn Eagles post on X with that clip, it's like, wait a minute here. We've got way too much information, and you can clearly see this clown lying, okay? The clown is lying. He got caught with his pants down. He realized he spoke way too much, and he tried to walk it back, and nobody believes him. And then you fast forward to 9 months into the future, and we have the national spokesperson, Tony Mathis, for Seth Rogers up here saying, wait a minute, this is not 1 report. This is not even 2 reports. This is 5 flipping reports. We're not talking about, small potatoes here. That something happened in the house and somebody called the Department of Children and Family Services. This was 5 separate trips at minimum. We don't know if there were several trips for each report or not, right? So this is very interesting. This is very, very, oh, thank you, Michelle. I'm going to go over our spots there in just a second. So going from the beginning and just bringing you guys up to snuff. Melanie, happy Thursday, everyone. Betty, you're amazing. We've got Queen of Hype. She's under the weather and is sick in bed and happy and enjoying our true crime community from the creators that she loves. Our beautiful Veronica B. True Crime is up in the house. Eve Loves, as well as this me, Jen, donated 1 Bullhorn Betty membership. If you got your gifted Bullhorn Betty membership from either Eve or Jen, please don't forget to tell them thank you. Our beautiful Brenda is up in the house. Lisa B. always says, does anyone remember CP saying, if I had $1 million, Sebastian would be home? Hindsight 2002, what could that mean? I do remember that. I don't. We're going to have to think about that. Because when there was only just a few interviews, I could pinpoint exactly what interview that was stated on. But I have to remember, I think it was Web Sleuths for some reason. It might have been one of the hate channels. I can't remember. It was either Web, I can't remember. But I remember exactly how he stated it. But I don't remember what. I bet you it'll pop in my head. Just give me a minute, Lisa. I'll be able to. I'll think of it. But it might have been Web Sleuths. Grace Upon Grace says the hate channels don't like when people don't buy their BS. We just want to find Amen to that. Amen to that. Grace Upon Grace. Our beautiful Lady 7 Up. Thank you so much. It's me, Jen. Love you all. Our beautiful shining star says thank you, Buddy and Mods. We've got Renee. Love you, Betty. Mods, Coffee Beans. We are Sebastian Strong. Let him be found, Lord. Soon, Lord. I agree with that. We have Sebastian Strong. Renee, thank you. Michelle gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Thank you so much. Queen of Hype with her super sticker. Renee, thank you guys. Thank you guys. We have Shining Star for 2. And who else? Oh, look at this. Look at this. Renee, PHB is number 1. And Lady Dragons. Lady Dragon says, love you guys, Sebastian's Army. Thank you all so very much for your continued love and support. I do promise you that tomorrow, I know we're trying to get that live up, but the live is over. We didn't quite meet our goal. One sock, Candy. This is what I'll do. You know what? We're 1 away. This is what I'll do. Let's go ahead and just open the phone lines. We'll leave the phone lines open for about 30 minutes. If we can keep them about 5 minutes each, that should get us right about 6 calls. If we can get those 6 calls in, but I'm not going to interrupt you guys if you're talking, just understand that when we have time constraints, it's up to you to make sure that you limit yourself and your commentary when you call the show. Okay, guys, because that's really the important part is I don't want to interrupt you. If I can and try to limit some of that, I will. But please consider, if you do call in, please consider limiting your commentary to the points. The phones are on. The phone number here is 2425-8070. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Betty. It's Judy Jones from Tennessee.
Oh,
How are
Judy,
you?
it's nice to hear you. I'm doing well. How are you doing this beautiful Thursday? Well, let me break it down. This cold Thursday.
We're just ready for that winter snow,
You keep that one too. See, it's beautiful, but I don't want it.
I know. I have an idea, and I know everybody else has had this idea. I don't believe leaving these guys out of jail is going to lead them anywhere. I firmly believe you can lock them up because you have enough proof. CPS is enough proof for me. I'm not real sure. But I'm just saying, if you lock them up, you let the big guys take care of them. The prisoners, they do not like child abusers, and especially one that's got needs. I just say it's time to let them try to get it out of them because, Sumner County's not getting it out of them, evidently. We may be getting closer. We don't know.
I don't know. I feel like there's something with this whole invocation of rights, remaining silent and stuff. I think, I keep watching. I went back and started watching some programs and stuff like that. And it's like, they do lean in on them. Like even when we did the trial for Leilani, we got to see some of their, what are they called? Interviews with Leilani, and they went after her pretty hard. And I keep wondering if there's a possibility that they did that, which would have forced, Katie to possibly invoke her right all of a sudden after 10 months.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. Well, I think they can only push them so far. I mean, this guy is a narcissist. He thinks he knows it all. He thinks he can get away with anything because he's always been able to get away with anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying he needs a big man to take care of him.
And True Crime Addict labeled it as jailhouse justice.
There you go. I love it. Okay. Well,
all right, Judy. Well, it's
go to the next caller. Love
voice.
You, girl.
Yes. Don't forget to call back again. I love conversations. Hopefully next time I won't be so limited on time.
Oh, you're fine. Love you, girl. Take care.
Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. That was perfect. I love it. I love it. Got to have some conversation there too. Did she plead the fifth only at night? Veronica B. True Crime, that is alleged. That is alleged. We don't know. We have no way of corroborating that unless law enforcement comes out or somebody that's close to the family knows about it. That's the only way. If we can get, if somebody on social media gets an inside, which I'm assuming that's how At Night, because At Night has it hit as their tentacles everywhere, you know, and they, believe it or not, they've got a lot more information than we may think. I wanted to give a big shout out to Justin for All that's in here. I see ICU is in here and Seth is in here. I don't know if Tony's in here or other content creators are also in here. But thank you so much for being here. Our beautiful, beautiful mod squad. Our phones are open. 724-252-8070. Your family, your coffee club family, got the phones open for you. So if you have something that's weighing on your shoulders, you want to get it off, you have some thoughts, ideas, call in 724-252-8070. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, Betty. This is Kelly, and I'm calling from Niagara Falls, Ontario, right on the border with Buffalo.
Oh, wow. You must be cold.
Yeah, we're like minus 14, but I just wanted to put this out there that you have a lot of Canadian viewers.
Aw, thank you.
Some of us live right on the border. In New York, I see a lot of Canadian callers in here. So I just want to put this out there to Seth, Tony, your whole team, that our eyes are open. This is worldwide. This is worldwide. Everywhere I go, you know, I'm looking.
Mm-hmm.
I get up every morning for the last 10 months.
Yeah.
Where is Sebastian? Where is he? Did he have to leave that house so quickly? He didn't take his shoes? Were there cameras on the inside that he couldn't get his shoes? In the cold? No way. In the woods at night? It just, you know, something really, really smells bad here. And I'm so glad that you guys are down there and on the ground, and you are going to do right by Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers.
Yeah.
And you will have the whole world looking. The whole world.
Yeah.
I mean, Seth has taken a lot of lumps in the YouTube world for good purpose.
Mm-hmm.
For good purpose. And, you know, I can't tell you, my kid's in the military. I told him, you're going overseas. There's no place too far that I wouldn't go.
Exactly.
There is no plane I wouldn't. There's no plane I wouldn't catch. Like, really, what kind of mother are we talking about here?
My mom would give her life for one of her children. Give her life for one of her children. I know that without hesitation. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I would lay down my life for my children. There is no plane, there's no mountain, no body of water.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that I wouldn't cross for my kid. You would see my face everywhere. Good news, good press, bad press, good attention, bad attention. Come at me.
Yep.
Where's my kid? Bring my kid home. I can't live without my kid. Somebody seems to be really easing back in the lazy boy.
And
wherever and
how do you
whenever.
feel if your child was missing and the whole world was breathing down your neck? I just, like Seth, I just don't see it stopping any of us. But it stopped this mom and stepfather.
Well, it didn't stop the stepfather. I mean, his lips flat, like he just dry ratted on himself 1,000,000 times. He's dry snitching.
I know. And
how do you rat yourself out, Mr. Proudfoot?
Just listen. I'm telling you, there's a lot in these. I've been saying that for months. There's a lot in here. We don't even know how much is in here. You know, we got to wait until the next slip comes up and go back and review all the, interviews again to see if, we're constantly going back and forth. That's why most of us content creators, when you say a statement, we're like, oh, no, it's in this video, it's in this interview. It's because we've listened to the interviews like literally 1,000 times at this point, trying to listen for anything, especially when new information comes out. What is the first thing we do? Go back to see if it applies to any of the old interviews. Just like
Look, he's getting a nice silver pair of bracelets. And so is she.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of the Cali boys, Orin and Orin West.
Yep.
It took them a year to get arrested when they were getting the haul out.
Home too.
And listen, what's his name? Edgar? Edgar doesn't want to come to Canada because we know what you look like in this country.
Do not enter.
Do not enter. Edgar, please don't come to Niagara Falls. Don't come to Buffalo for a game. You won't make it out, bro. We'll make shark bait.
Yeah.
See ya.
Thank you. God bless. Wow.
Anyway, have a...
Oh, I'm sorry. I just hung up on her. I thought she hung up. I'm so sorry. I hit a button. I'm so sorry. Thank you from Canada. I hit the button too quickly. Sorry about that. All right, guys. Well, we do appreciate it, but you know what? Do not pass the Canadian border. It is closed for service. It is closed. Thank you. Thank you so much for the call. I'm sorry for I hit the button by accident. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from? Oh, I lost another one. Heck, what the hell is going on with the phones? Maybe it wasn't me. Guys, the phones are back on. I don't even know my number, so let me take this down so we can see the number. 724-252-8070, 252-8070, area code 724. Here we go. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is Lisa B. Always calling from Nebraska.
Hey,
it's
Lisa.
Cold here. Yeah. Hi, sweetie. Best mods ever in this chat. Okay. Thank y'all. And best coffee club. I just wanted to say, I think the way Edgar keeps talking about the path the dogs took, he's trying to throw somebody under the bus. If you listen to Bobby's second, the call that was
the leaked call.
Yes. When they talk about the front door being open and a shadow being seen carrying something over the shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
I think Edgar's throwing KK under the bus. That's what I think.
Yeah, but I'm also surprised that Miss Bobby just assumed that it was KK instead of the stepfather.
Well, we don't have any way of knowing that he was at home is the problem with that.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's probably, we can more accurately place the mother in the home than we can the stepfather.
That's true.
So, I've been waiting for them to throw her under the bus because she is not blood and they have nothing to lose by doing that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you make all good points. If people don't realize, Lisa B. Always is the one that basically coined disciplining him into normalcy because that's kind of how we were all previewing in this. That was prior to 5 CPS reports. What do you think now that you've heard about these 5 CPS reports?
Oh, I think there's more out there. I think those are just the ones that are in that county. I think there's more out there.
Because they did live in multiple places.
Yes, they did. And I think that's why we have the vagueness about, I don't know if there's 5, because I think there's more. I think there's a reason, military people, once they've established a home someplace, aren't real ready to pick up and move again unless there's a really good reason. Because they've been moving all over.
Yeah.
And that's my experience from my husband having been in the Army.
That people are saying they agree with you. Those are great points. You're right.
And I don't think that there are just 5. I think those are just the ones that that
years since they
Beth
moved
and Tony
back.
were able to get their hands on through the lawyer from that county, because Sebastian could have self-reported any time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a fact. He could have done that, and especially if there were marks on that boy.
Mm-hmm.
He showed something to get the CPS people at the door. He showed something.
And you know what it comes down to is remember that bruise on his neck, and the stepfather said he thought it was a hickey. Let's talk about this. If your child is is special needs and is going to school, and you see a mark come back on your child from the school, whether it's a hickey or whether it's a bruise, wouldn't you lose your stuff and be calling the school and making a formal report if your special needs child came home with a mark on its body?
Well, only if that child went to school with that, didn't go to school with that mark on their body. You see, that's the difference.
So
He went
how
to
could
school with
Chris
that
not
mark on
know?
his body.
How could Chris not know what that is? And why would he assume? Why would he tell people that he thought it was a hickey when on the very next statement he says that his stepson doesn't have those types of interests?
Well, it's coming out of his mouth. So, why does he say anything?
Yeah.
Is my point. Anything to throw us off, but there is leakage in what he says. I still think there's something about that. If we had $1 million, Sebastian would be home. I still think there's something to that.
I'll pull
there was
that.
No
I'll
reason
pull
to
that. We'll
say
make
something.
that a discussion. I promise you. I'll find, if you know it before me, send it to me, and that goes for the whole audience. If you guys find that statement, we'll open it up and talk about it tomorrow.
Because to me, that is leakage. Mm-hmm. That is leakage, because nobody had to say anything about that.
Right.
And there's a lot to that man. Very sick man. And I agree with Seth Rogers completely when he talked about the psychopaths in Sebastian's life. And I just want to say that we all have been right on this, but it doesn't matter if we don't find Sebastian. We have to find
Amen.
that boy.
Yep.
Okay, God bless y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye, love. Bye, love. Bye, love. Bye, love. All right. Lisa B, always nice to hear from you and your perspective. And Judy's down there. And our Canadian caller, I'm sorry, I forgot your name already. Next time I will not forget it. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, Betty. This is your favorite person in Denver, Colorado,
Hey,
Shirley H. Hi, you know what? I've had to deal with CPS. And it was because my son was playing football and he went to school with bruises on him.
Yeah.
There is no way that Mr. Numbnuts can sit up there and tell me that he did not know about 5 reports.
And he wasn't shocked either. He wasn't offended that they asked him, like, how dare you ask me if there was 5 reports? Of course not. It was nothing. He wasn't offended. He wasn't taken back. I don't know. Very odd behavior from a man that always wants to push his way around. That statement just doesn't make sense.
It does not make sense at all to me. And every time that man opens his mouth, it's one lie after another. Because on Nancy Grace, he said that it was years ago, but that he whipped Sebastian with a belt. And then he goes on Truth and said Sebastian was 15. Mr. Numbnuts, this is to you personally. Learn to use the belt on yourself for lying, because you said he lied and that's why you used the belt. Then you said it was because he forgot his belt.
Poor stepdad, if he applied his same punishment to himself, he'd be black and blue. Just saying.
He sure would. And another thing, kids only learn what they're taught. If you're up in somebody's personal space, he was taught that.
Well,
So
some
that means-
autistic children, not necessarily. They don't know those social cues. Like Like if we're in somebody's personal space, they'll look at us just right or something, and we'll get that social cue to, you're in our personal, without anybody even saying anything. When a child is autistic, they don't get that social cue that you're a little too close, but still nothing worth being spanked over.
And a teacher, not a teacher, I'm sorry, a CPS worker is not going to tell a parent tell a child in front of a parent that, you could get somebody in serious trouble for lying. They're not going to do that.
Well,
they're not even going to talk to that child in front of the parents. They're going to pull them out of the home, outside, in another room, somewhere. They're not going to talk to them in front of the parents. Because the parents could be intimidated.
But if you listen to him, Shirley, he says that. He says that the worker took Sebastian outside, and then he goes to tell us what she told him outside. How would he know what was said to Sebastian outside? He was not allegedly there, even in his own statement. She came in, she wanted to speak to Sebastian privately. She took him outside, spoke to him, and then he goes in and starts telling us everything that she said to him. How would he know if he was taken outside to speak privately with the worker?
Well, because Chris thinks he knows it all, and he's probably got microphones and everything else around that doggone house.
Or he just lied.
Spies or somebody. He knows way too much information not to be there. And I still, to this day, think that green hoodie person has something to do with this too.
Hey, you know what? We got kind of the same statement from them. I misread the statement, but I corrected it a day or two ago, saying they basically said that she doesn't hold any evidentiary value or something, almost a similar statement that they had stated for the lights video. So there is a possibility the green shirt person may have a little more information. It was definitely peculiar seeing a person, appearing like they're trying to hide. And then, sit between cars for 2 minutes and then proceed inside of a restaurant just to turn around and leave. It didn't make sense. Something's odd there. We can all feel it, but does it have anything to do with Sebastian? I really don't know.
Well, in my opinion, I think they need to put Mr. and Mrs. Numbnuts and Mr. and Mrs. Dingledores in separate cells and drill them like the drill sergeants did when they were in the military until they broke.
But they might have done that. I mean, to be honest with you, what triggered if this statement that Katie did and factually invoke her right to remain silent, what would have triggered that? It seems like something would have triggered that 10 months later. So maybe they
don't usually do a plead of the fifth, and this is just from what I'm learning in like classes. You don't plead the fifth unless you have been found you're getting ready to go to court. Or you have been charged with something.
No, that's not necessarily true. Anytime law enforcement questions you related to a crime, and they think you're a witness, or not even a witness, they think you're a suspect or potentially a suspect, they read you your rights, so anything you say will be admissible in a court of law. And so that's done at the investigative level. And when that's done at the investigative level, you have the opportunity to speak with them or invoke your right and wait for your attorney. And that's prior to being charged with anything. That's just investigative work. So there is two parts to that. But yes, it is for trial purposes. That's why they do read you your rights, but you do not have to be arrested. You only have to be
right, so you don't incriminate yourself.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So, Miss Numbnuts, what did you do with Sebastian? You were the last one seen with him.
Yeah.
So you know where your child is. You need to produce Sebastian to Seth and quit this game.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you don't like Seth and because Mr. Numbnuts don't like Seth, stop hurting that man. Get that man his child and move on about your life, and we'll leave you alone. But as long as you keep playing this game, we're going to keep calling your bluff.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, we want Sebastian. You know, whatever condition he's in, he needs to come home.
He does.
Period.
He does. He needs to really come home. I have a 15-year-old in my home. He's hyperactive. Yes, 15-year-olds are a handful, especially boys, because they start smelling.
Have you received 5 CPS reports in the last 2 years for your hyperactive boy?
I got that one CPS report for my son playing tackle football, and when the coach stepped in to help me with it, they was like, "Well, that was a waste of time."
Yeah.
So there is no
but
way
it was
he didn't
know. It was you guys. I mean, in 2 years, you've had one CPS report from an injury he sustained playing a game. So that's in 2 years. We have 5, and they're not from him playing games. It's not from him his injuries on a field, on a football field, a soccer field, a baseball field, or any other field.
Right,
and that's sitting in his room.
From what I understand is that this child couldn't do sports activities because of his
the fluid on his brain.
But I'm not going to keep you, Betty. I just had somebody come to my door.
Oh, okay. Well, tell your friend I said hi. You have a great day, Shirley.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And we'll leave the call. We'll leave the phone open for one more phone call. If somebody didn't get the chance to call in, I know there was a couple. Did I turn the phones back on? Yes. There were a couple that came in while they were speaking. So now would be a great time to give a call. But I'll be taking one more phone call if anybody would like to call in. One more phone call. 724-252-8070, 8070. She won't speak up. Too many aces she's covering for. Speaks up, they'll all go down. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have the wrong number.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll open it back up to one more caller. 724-252-8070. Sounded like a voice very, very familiar. Just saying. If you guys will go back and listen to that, I bet you guys will think the same thing. The voice sounds very, very familiar. This is Betty. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Betty. It's Outer Banks, and I don't live in North Carolina. I live in Nebraska.
Nebraska. Gotcha. Are you freezing?
Not too bad. It's not too bad.
Yes, because you got that cold blood in you. Okay, it's different than Florida blood. I'm just saying.
I know it has been cold, but I go to Mexico on Tuesday, so I'll be warm for a week.
She's running away from Nebraska to go to Mexico, but hey, the weather's just fine there in Nebraska.
I appreciate everything you do, but I have 2 questions. So, at the beginning of all this, he was not allowed to do any gaming, to be on the internet, and now all of a sudden he has a cell phone and he plays on his Xbox that, I don't know what it is, called Force, or I don't know what it is. Anyway, so that's so contradictory. So he was on the internet a lot, is what I'm gathering, playing games. And he did have a cell phone, right?
He did, but according to Seth, it really was not accessible to internet or anything. He said he had to request that even a calculator be put on his phone for his son.
Okay. And then the other question I don't know. Do we know when he was diagnosed with autism?
If I remember, now you're going to have to do your own research. I'm just going off the top of my head. But if I had to remember, I think it was just a couple years ago that he was actually diagnosed with the autism. But he had been diagnosed with his chromosome deletion syndrome very early on.
I'm going to go back to Smiley's World because I am recalling when they had a blip of his teachers talking about him.
October, just to clarify, somebody in the chat says October 2023 is when he was diagnosed with his autism.
Okay. Because there was a little blip in one of his teachers were talking about him, about the possibility of him having autism. But it didn't sound like they knew that he was autistic. So I'm going to have to go back and find that. I thought it was in Smiley's World, but I'll find it and send it to you. But that is just odd to me, too. And maybe they didn't know because it was a new diagnosis, you know? Yeah,
and I did look into that. That could be plausible because when I was looking into the chromosome deletion syndrome, we did find a doctor that did a podcast on chromosome deletion and how difficult it is to find other like ADHD and autism because of the chromosome deletion. And he went through exactly why, and I can't remember, everything on that particular show, but there is a nexus as to why he was a late diagnosed child of autism, and it was a good explanation.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'm just going to say is somebody out there made a YouTube account in Sebastian Rogers' name that has one video on it. Did anybody watch that?
No, I didn't even hear about it.
If you go to YouTube and put in Sebastian Rogers' name, his name comes up, and there's just one video, and I just think that's somebody's just trying to.
Yeah, because Sebastian did not have.
In the...
Yeah, Sebastian did not have a. And I'm not finding it when I do Sebastian's name either. So it's the channel's either taken down or hidden somehow. But if you have that video, send it over to me. I'll review it.
I will. I'll look for it. I'll look for it. And I appreciate everything you do. And hello, everybody. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Outer Banks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, I did it again. Guys, I'm being rude on the phones. I'm sorry. I got trigger finger hands this morning. I don't know why. There was one other person that has been trying to get in here for a lot. And every time she calls or he calls, it's always when somebody else is calling or I've already picked up. The person that has area code 208. Area code 208. I'm going to open the phones up because I think, if I recall, you've been trying to get in for a couple days now. And it seems like everybody seems to always hit me before I get to you. So if you have the area code of 208, please give me a call back if you've been trying to get in. If you're not that person and you haven't been trying to call, please don't call. Let that person in. So I'll leave this open just for you if you would like to call in and speak. There it is. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Yay! It's Christy from Idaho.
Oh, Christy. I kept seeing you and I'm like, man, this person's been really trying here. So I thought I'd open it up for the last call. You're the last call of the day, but I wanted to make sure you got a chance to speak.
Appreciate you.
Yes.
Wanted to ask, you may not have the answer, but there's been a lot of talk about the grand jury. And is there any way to know, what happens or after the grand jury? I don't know. Is there any way to get information?
Grand juries are secret. Okay. Some people may know when they possibly meet, but in a case like this, they can meet at any time. So I would have to think if somebody there's all other crimes going on in this community. So if they did receive their grand jury summons, I don't know if it would necessarily be for this case. I don't necessarily know that it wouldn't be for this case, but I don't see how any of us would really know whether a grand jury is being convened because the whole purpose of a grand jury is secrecy.
Yes, correct. But then, after they meet and decide to, say the DA decides to proceed with the case, I guess that's when an arrest would be made? Is that what the next step would be?
Yeah, typically, if they go ahead and proceed forward, arrest affidavits would be would then be created. I don't think and this is all done behind the scenes. We really won't know the outcome, whether there's a grand jury or what the grand jury decides, until they are arrested. And that's really the only time we would know that a grand jury was convened and they have ordered the arrest of them, that they can proceed forward in their case.
Gotcha. Yep, just a lot of talk about it, and I wasn't sure, how would we know or what the outcome would be. So thanks so much for all you do. Appreciate you, and thanks for sticking around for my call.
Yep. And just before you leave, Justin says they have 90 days to make a decision. They meet once a month in Sumner County. They also have secret grand juries too. So he's looked into that as well. But something like this that's high profile, they would be going secret grand jury route, in my opinion, because they're not going to want to put anybody, especially being such a small community, on notice of anything.
Gotcha. And do you think he meant 90 days from the time they decide to the?
I think it's 90 days from the time that the case is presented to the grand jury to make a determination.
Gotcha. Okay.
I haven't looked into it honestly, but that's the way the language. That's how I'm reading it from Justin.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. God bless you. And I'm glad you got in.
Yeah. Okay.
All
Take
right.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow. What a great live, guys. What a great live. I really thought that was good. I know we haven't really had much of a good live here lately because I've been kind of, burning my candle at both ends, and I haven't really had an opportunity to really sit down and kind of go over things. And so yesterday afternoon into late evening, that's when I got together, started working. I wanted to have a good intro video for the nonsense coming out. I want everybody to know I don't want it to be the mom or stepdad. I know Justin doesn't want it to be the mom and stepdad. I know half of my audience here, if not all of my audience here, they don't care who it is, right? They don't want it to be any particular person. They just want to follow the leads and make the people that are responsible, that could have harmed anybody or taken this child away from his father, to be held accountable. If it's a third party, if it's an unknown person, it doesn't matter. We're not manufacturing information to point at the mom and stepdad. And I am absolutely appalled that anybody would make those allegations when all of us have taken deep dives into it, showed our receipts and why we feel the way we feel. I can tell you personally, I don't want it to be his mom and stepfather. I don't want to hear of this abuse that this child had to endure behind closed doors, allegedly or otherwise. Nobody wants that. We care about children here on these platforms. We would love nothing more than to know that every child out there can lay their head down in peace in the comfort and protection of their home. This is one such case that information doesn't appear to be true. And trust me, there are many of us that try to think that we are going into left field. If you guys remember, at the beginning of this case, I didn't want to say anything about this mom and stepfather. Nothing. But there were, at some point, the information was so overwhelming, I would be an idiot not to listen to the information and the evidence. Now, I could be an ostrich. I could stick my head in the sand and I could act like, hey, if law enforcement didn't say it, it must not be true. But we don't like hypotheticals on this channel. If we have questions and we can't find the answer, we go out and get it, no matter how much it costs this channel to get it, right? We'll go put boots on the ground. We'll go meet with people. We'll walk and talk. We'll talk to people. We'll get as much information as we can to find heads or tails, especially when law enforcement won't give us any information. We have to do it all on our own. We don't get the easy way out of law enforcement telling us this is true, that is true, this isn't true, that isn't true. We have to go find that information if we're going to make a statement on it. Or we're going to constantly have to say, oh, this is rumor, this is an assumption, this is an assumption. I can't stand that. If I have the ability to take an assumption to a fact, I'm going to do it. I don't want it to be this child's parents, because if it is the mom and stepfather, then that means this child endured more than we can probably or even imagine inside that home. And it doesn't just have to constantly be abuse, physical abuse. It can just not be loving the child. It can just be constantly humiliating the child, making that child feel like they're nothing they do is ever good enough. And for anybody to think that a whole community, a true crime community, would just target parents is disgusting. And that's exactly why they'll never be part of the true crime community and will always be in drama. Because none of the crap that they say ever makes sense, just like a drama. True crime. What happens to these parents and what they say to the public? If it's the truth, they're going to say the same thing over and over again. If it's not, they're constantly going to be inconsistent from one statement to the next. We have Seth that has been fully consistent with all of his statements of where he's been, and he produced the receipts. We got the other side that won't produce one scintilla of receipts to support anything they have said, ever. Ever. Where's the receipts from the mom and stepdad supporting anything that they've said? There are none. And the receipts that we've uncovered go directly in opposition of what they stated. So I'm going to trust the work that we do and other creators that are reputable on this platform do. I'm going to keep moving forward. When information comes forward that may change some of the theories or speculation that we have, that's true theories and speculation, then we'll make sure that that's adjusted. But right now, 10 months in, we've got a wealth of information and it does not look good for the mom and stepfather. And we have receipts for the information we've produced. There will always be some type and some form of assumption and speculation in these things when there's lacking of information and factual stuff, or even law enforcement coming out and telling us. But we also know what corroboration is, what physical evidence and what circumstantial evidence is. And we identify that very, very, very well on this channel. So, guys, I hope you have a great Thursday. Oh, thank you, Pamela. That is so sweet. Thank you guys so much. You guys have been a blessing this Thursday. I did want to tell you guys a little something, something. Our baby girl is becoming a doggy. She's becoming a doggy. She's going through her first heat. And yesterday she wasn't doing too well. She was very whimpery. I don't know if she cramps or not, going through this stuff, but it seemed like she was very uncomfortable. And so I just loved on her. But you know what? It's breaking my heart. My baby's turning into a doggy, and I don't know if I can handle it. To be honest with you, I keep looking at her. I'm like, please don't lose the puppy face. You're too young to lose the puppy face. And then I started thinking their biology, and I'm like, damn, she's too young to be having a litter of pups. What's wrong? What's going on with this? How can a poopy this tiny be getting prepared to have puppies? It's just not fair. It's just not fair. She's still too young. She's just too young. She's just a baby. She's just a baby herself. So she's in her diapers. She's been doing good, but I've been just loving on her because I don't know what she's going through. And I know this is a change to her body, and I want her to be comfortable with it. I don't know what to do. I will be honest with you. So I'm just going to trust my gut instinct and just comfort her as much as possible. I just love on her, right? And I've been making sure I don't let her run. I like to let her run loose when she can, but with her being in heat, and I don't know how this is going to affect her hormones. She's been on the leash since she started. We're not taking any chances, okay? Because I would die if she ran off. If she came back, knocked up, we'll just deal with it. But I can't stand her not being with me. So Delilah brings all the pups into the yard. So far, no pups have shown up. Now, I remember when one of my other dogs were going through heat, but she was a larger dog, and this was back at my other house, so it was like 15 years ago. I remember waking up and walking out, and I would have strange dogs in my yard. And I'm like, you're getting spayed. So she was supposed to get spayed, but we missed the appointment. They changed the appointment on me, and the other 2 appointments I couldn't make because of work. So I figured we were going to be cutting it close. So I went ahead and bought her some diapers so she could just go through her first one, and then it'll give me some room to breathe. But she's becoming a doggy. She's becoming a doggy, and I don't know how I'm handling it. My precious baby angel is growing up. And she's growing up entirely too fast. So I don't know how you mommies and daddies do it with your kids, but I'm not liking it with my puppy, okay? I'm just saying. All right, guys, you guys make it a great day. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe. But more importantly, be kind to one another. All right, guys. Love you. We'll see you soon. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.